Okay, so thank you, Alice, for having this conversation from my patio in Williamsburg, Brooklyn to Lyon, France.
Thank you for asking me.
But tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name's Alice. I'm currently living in Lyon in France. I'm a dancer here and a choreographer, and I lived in New York when I was studying at New York University for 4 years, and that's when you and I met at Perry Dance and then in many other shapes and forms. And after that, I went to London for 1.5 years where I did my master's in contemporary dance at the place. And I was dancing with Edge Dance Company. And after that, I went to Malawi, where I was supposed to spend 6 months in Africa. And I spent 2 months there just before lockdown, but I was teaching dance and helping to build. So yeah, that's a bit about me. I dance and I studied philosophy and a lot of sciences before going into dance full time. So I'm interested in a lot of things.
So tell us about the mentorship program and why you join us and what is your experience?
So I joined, the first class I took with your mentorship program was the methodology of teaching dance pedagogy workshop. And it came at a really perfect time for me because, as I said, I was starting to teach a bit more this year. I've been teaching on and off for the past 4 years, but I was teaching every day. Like, I think in Malawi, I counted it was 16 classes a week that I was teaching. And then when I came back during lockdown, I taught online for them. And then I ended up subbing for a studio here in Lyon. So I did 2 months of that. And I'm actually getting the certification for my teaching degree here in France. So the pedagogy mentorship, when you talked, was it was perfect timing to start exploring that a bit. And I was already familiar with, I think, both your own teaching, and also I know that we're the same and we like things to be cross-discipline, and I was really looking forward to going into pedagogy with that idea of crossing people and ideas.
And if you need to, resume a little bit about your experience, for someone that doesn't know me and doesn't know, what the workshop was about, can you help me to articulate that?
So I think, well, the way I would describe it is, I think it was 8 of us, and we all had 10. Oh, 10 of us. Sorry.
It's fine.
Oh, I wasn't counting myself. And then the last week we were 9. But yeah. So it was 10 of us, and we were all somewhat there for different reasons, but I think it was articulated pretty much in the second week of the mentorship that the class was about not only establishing what a curriculum is and how to do certain exercises and how to place your voice, and we all got individual feedback on exercises that we did via Zoom and what is teaching online now, looking at what it is to be an educator and what comes behind the word educating, and how we're our field is dance, but what we're trying to do is through our discipline give plant our seeds for someone's whole being. And so that was a difference that we were working with, that nuance since the very first class in that workshop, of it's something to instruct someone and tell them, like, all right, stretch and flex this muscle, and then it's something to build an education. So from then you gave us reading every week. We had different exercises that we had to prepare every week. Then we had exercises we all did together, and we talked a lot. A lot of discussion of ideas, and at the workshop we were all in different places of the world, and Egypt, yes, New York, and Italy, and France, and so
Panama, Argentina, and all United States.
And the United States. So yeah, it was that's really how I saw it, and that's the biggest thing I took away from it, was connecting with people about how regardless of what dance technique you're teaching, there was a big diving into why are you doing what you're doing and what do you have to share with others. So I was really grateful for that, especially now, I think. Especially
Good.
now.
Good. And you want to share a little bit about the choreography workshop?
Well, I've just started, so I'm 3 hours in, and the choreography workshop is on Saturdays, evening for me, morning for New Yorkers. And
how you deal, like expectations, many people, we were talking this off camera, how the expectation of someone who study dance, through Zoom online versus live, but we are here in this situation, and I think the beauty of limitations, that make us, you cannot be in the same studio at the same time, but we can be connected with another peers, international, that, that are in another time zones. So
yeah.
I think this is invaluable. But I want to hear a little bit about what you expected before and when you joined it, the choreography workshop.
Well, yeah, I mean, you and I have had a few conversations about how I really dislike the fact that dance is now on screen, and it's not. I have come to realize, through injury and through being in a country where I was giving myself my own classes and that the social aspect of dance is super important to me, and I love being in the same room as people, but so we've talked a lot about that, and I'm still holding on to the fact that one day we'll be back in the studio somewhat. But in terms of, I mean, also the biggest example I give now when people tell me that is that I have been able to take class with you, and I haven't been in New York in over 2 years now, and I used to take class with you every week, and I was considering coming back in August this year before all of this happened to just take classes with you and a few other people from New York again. So the opportunity to get to do that from home is wonderful. I'm really, really grateful for that, to be able to take class. And then in terms of the actual course, I don't know. This week we have to perform something in front of each other on Zoom, and I think I'm going in with no expectations, because I'm
good.
Otherwise I would scare myself a bit, I think. Yeah, from both sides actually, because I have seen during lockdown quite a bit of dance performances, and I'm realizing that it really doesn't speak to me as much in terms of audience, but I haven't yet performed, so I'm even wondering how am I gonna turn on the performance mode with, my lamp and my teddy bear and people people on the screen. So yeah, it's gonna be a good challenge, and for sure it's something I think once you have people you trust, for me it helps that I know I can trust you, and I know I can trust some of the people that I already know in the workshop, and that we're finding solutions together for that.
Great.
New opportunities.
You have any question for me?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you're one of the people who I know has taught the most online, and I think, well, what's something that surprised you about it, good or bad? I don't know, that you weren't expecting.
I feel that, in all these 6 months that I'm teaching online, and it's like constant teaching 6 times a week for different colleges and private institution and the mentorship program which I create. What surprised me is the freedom of the people. Like sometime I find out that people dancing on the studio, they are holding themselves up because of what the people want to think about them, because they want to belong, because they, so I see an external pressure that now they are dancing at home, I don't see it. And so for certain type of personality, this help a lot. because they can open themselves, because they are in the safest environment that they can be, that is their own home.
Yeah.
And also because it's just, many of the exercises, everybody's doing the same thing at the same time, and they cannot watch the screen. So basically it's like a private dancer for me. I have 9 private dancers that I'm watching, or 10 depending on the workshop. And I feel also other surprise thing, that even though we are in different time zones and in different part of the world, the connection, some of the people that sign up for my workshop, they are, professors at another university, chairs of the departments at another university. And we have during the week phone calls that we call each other like friends that we know from forever. And we've been able to have these conversations, perhaps because we don't know each other, but we can talk more openly and sincere about many things, and I keep telling everybody, we making the workshop together, and I want to hear the feedback all the time, what
Yeah.
works, what doesn't work. And I feel that sometimes, because people go to the studios and they just want to sweat and they want to exercise, the other part that is the communication, that the faculty, the professor get to know the student, and the student get to know the professor. We don't have the time, but now we have, because we are in our home. So even if I can have a 10-minute conversation with someone on the phone, I do it with pleasure. That before, everybody run, especially in New York, from one place to the other, and they are very distracted. Instead, I see a lot of progress, especially when I give, my homeworks, looking at videos and reading material. Before, if I give it to a regular class in New York City, people will not do it. But now they do, because I feel they have less access to material. So they are concentrated in more.
Yeah, I think, it's also, it's because there's for all of us, I think we're redefining what we want our time to be. And especially, I know from living in New York that long too, that there's something about time that just starts escaping. But also, you always take the time to do that. So I think, I don't know, I haven't taken many online workshops, but I know that even before online workshops, you took the time to do that with your students.
Well, thank you so much, Alice, for sharing your perspective and about the mentorship program, and looking forward to see you perform.
Yeah, me too.
Next weekend.
I'm excited.
Okay, thank you so much.